lovely people. Today I'm bringing you another one of those incoherent book babble things about a book that I have recently finished. That book is Snow Like Ashes by Sara Raasch. This book was really good. Let's see, where shall I start with this book? This book is my first book that I've finished of 2017. Not including graphic novels in that, the first novel that I finished of the year. This is it, and I think I started off with a good one because I absolutely loved this book, and as soon as I was near finishing I went out and I bought the second one because I knew I was just gonna love it so much. Really good book. If you haven't read it, I really recommend it. This book follows the story of a 16-year-old girl called Mayra. Or at least I think her name is Mayra. I think that's how you pronounce it. My brain was getting confused half the time and I was calling her Meria, but Mayra, because that's the order the letters in, and I was getting it so wrong. M-E-I-R-A. That's Mayra, right? I'm gonna go with Mayra. This book follows the story of a 16-year-old girl called Mayra, who is part of her country, region, her realm. Let's go with realm. Her realm is winter. And this land is divided into 4 realms: winter, spring, autumn, summer. You know, 4 seasons, 4 realms. And her realm, winter, has been destroyed in a war with spring, and all of the Winterians had been captured by spring and were forced to work in work camps in the spring realm, except for this group of Winterian refugees who managed to escape on the night where all the Winterians were captured, and they're now making it their mission to rescue the Winterians, restore their realm, and bring magic back to their kingdom. Pretty much how the magic worked in this book was each realm had their king or their queen. Each king or queen has like a magical item. I cannot remember what they're called. And throughout the entire book I remember I had no idea how to pronounce it anyway, so let's just go with magical item. And Winter's item is a locket that belonged to their queen, Hannah. And their queen had a son, but she was killed by spring and her locket was smashed and destroyed. So there's no more magic in Winter. And their queen is obviously dead, so her heir was her son. Shut up, phone. Was her son Mather. But how the magic worked was that in 2 of the lands the magic line was female and in 2 it was male. So really Mather couldn't use the magic anyway because he was a king, not a queen, which made him feel a bit useless and pathetic, etc, etc. So that's kind of how the magic worked, and it was it wasn't just magic that happened, you had to will it to happen, and it could run out if you used it too much and stuff. It had to recharge. So I liked that aspect with the magic. But pretty much what these refugees had to do was rescue the locket, which had been cut into 2 halves and was somewhere in spring, and they were under the impression that when these 2 bits were back together maybe the magic would be restored or something. So they try and do that, and with Mayra, she's a young girl, and the leader of these Winterian refugees, William, didn't want her doing anything. He didn't believe that she was trained well enough, didn't believe she was capable of it, and she wanted to prove everyone wrong. Her deepest desire was to prove that she mattered to Winter and that she could help save her kingdom and that she was of some importance and she wasn't just a little girl that kind of got dragged along with the story. She wanted to be important. She wanted to save her kingdom, of course. But she always felt slightly disconnected from her kingdom because when it fell, she was young and her parents died. So she's just an orphan refugee who feels disconnected from her country because she never knew it, but she wants to prove that she matters to it and she can help restore it. So Mayra's having some issues with herself because she doesn't know how she can matter, she doesn't know how to prove herself, etc, etc. I don't want to go too much further with that because I will spoil the story, and if you want to read it, which I recommend you do, then Mayra's internal journey is an interesting one. The way she kind of battles with herself on how she matters and how she can be of importance, and then at the end, ugh, let's not even go there. I really did enjoy all the characters. I definitely felt for Mayra. She was definitely an emotional character and I could kind of empathise with her. Some of the other characters I was a little disconnected with. William, I didn't really, I mean, I liked his character. I could see why he was an important character and the role he played in Mayra's life, but he wasn't a character that I felt for at all. Similarly, I think Mather I was supposed to feel more for, but I didn't. All of my focus, to be honest, was on Mayra, and with her being the main character, that makes sense. Although, another character that I quite liked, which I don't know how this is going to pan out in future books, but Theron? How are we pronouncing this? Can I find his name somewhere? I think while I was reading it I pronounced it Theron, but it could be Theron. Theron sounds more like a name than Theron. I'm going to call him Theron though, because that's what I called him while I was reading it. I did really enjoy Theron's character, who was the heir of Cordell, which is a rhythm country. There are 4 rhythm kingdoms as well as the 4 season kingdoms. The Wintarian refugees work their way to Cordell to seek refuge in their kingdom, and the relationship that Mayra and Theron have, I liked that, which is probably arguable because of stuff, but I liked the way that their relationship was going, the way they were kind of befriending each other. So yeah, I felt more for him than I did for Mather. The other Wintarian refugees, you don't really get much of an insight into their lives so much. To be honest, I can't even remember their names. I know that William's wife was there, can't remember her name. And you do get to see a few of the Wintarian refugees in the work camps. There was like a sister and a couple of brothers. I did really enjoy Nessa as well, who's one of the Wintarians in the spring work camps. I really liked her. She was a really cute character and I was kind of rooting for her to be okay. So yeah, there were a lot of characters that I did like. Some that I didn't feel much for, but I definitely understand their importance to the story. And I really enjoyed the book. I did give it a 4-star rating, minusing 1 star for predictability. As I said, I did really enjoy it. I don't need to repeat that anymore, I don't think. But some things that happened, as much as I enjoyed the fact that they did happen, it was predictable and I did kind of see it coming. Good work of foreshadowing with some of those things as well. From like halfway through, I knew what was happening with Mayra. I was rooting for it to happen anyway, so I didn't mind the predictability so much, but it was definitely something that you could see coming. I don't want to say that romance plays too much of a part in this, because it doesn't. I mean, it's definitely there. There is some romance in there, but I don't think that's what Mayra's focus is. This isn't about a girl who's desperate to like win over the prince or whatever. Her focus is definitely more on being content with herself and proving to herself that she matters and she's important than winning over the prince's heart or whatever. So yeah, there is romance, but it's not like overwhelmingly, which I enjoyed because I do like a little bit of romance in my fantasy books. Just a little something to, you know, prove that the characters are human. Although if they're not human, that's fine as well. But you know what I mean, to prove they have emotions. A little bit of romance is nice, but I don't like books that are overpowered by the romance. I like other things to be going on as well, and that was definitely the case in this book. There were much bigger pressing issues than Mayra's love life, which was great and very much appreciated. I would say it was quite a fast-paced book. There weren't many like quiet moments or dull moments or slow moments. It was definitely a page turner. I didn't read it incredibly quickly. I think I read it over 5 days, which is, you know, good for me. A book a week is a good target for me to be hitting. It wasn't like slow. I definitely got into it when I got into it, when I had the opportunity to just sit and read and get into it. And I really enjoyed how the story unfolded. I did also love the importance of Mayra's dreams in this. They were fun to work out with her because they were quite confusing for her. It was good to be able to kind of work out what was happening with Mayra as well, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I really enjoyed the writing style. It was a good writing style, can't fault that. I am excited to keep reading, definitely. Very attached to the characters and want to know what happens with the rest of Mayra's life, to be honest. So I'm definitely excited to read the next book. Similarly, I want to know what's going on with Theron, because I'm not sure about that situation. And yeah, if you haven't read it, I recommend that you read it. I'm gonna leave it there for kind of non-spoileriness because I don't know how much else I can say without giving things away about like what happens and so on. If you haven't read this book, now would be the time to leave because I cannot say much more without spoiling it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go. Bye. I did find it predictable that Mayra had those magic abilities. The first time that she mentioned about going cold, I was like, yeah, that is your connection to winter. You have some magical winter abilities. And that proved to be very true, obviously, because later on we discover that whenever she gets cold like that, she has those healing abilities and she can heal those around her, which I think is a brilliant power to have in the midst of a war. Don't you agree? I also really like how she came to know that with her healing of the boy by the wall. That was really cute and lovely, and I'm really glad that she got to prove herself to the other Winterian refugees, not refugees, Winterian work people, slaves, whatever, because I felt like they were kind of against her. I know that they were Winterian as well, but I kind of got the vibe from a lot of them that they were like, she's just going to get herself killed, she means nothing, we should not put any hope in her. Which I understand why they would do that as well, because of obviously the previous refugees that got enslaved as well and then died. But I'm really pleased that Moira did get to prove them wrong and save them and help them, and eventually had them all rooting for her as well. I do want to discuss the whole Thea and Moira thing, because I really did enjoy the little spark that they had, like with his poetry and his love of art and books and stuff. I thought he was lovely, and I understand the whole it was a forced sort of marriage thing and she was supposed to connect them to winter so that basically the king could use them, because he was an arse. I really enjoyed Theron, and I think that if he continues the way that he is, if he does become King of Cordell in future books, that's going to be a really great alliance. I don't see them getting married now though, now that we know that Moira's Queen of Winter and they've already been freed from Spring. I don't see that marriage happening. But I would like them to still have like an alliance and be kind of like teammates, because I did like their little thing, and I don't know if that is going to blossom into like a proper romance, because obviously there's the whole Mather thing as well. But to be honest, I never got good vibes from the Moira Mather thing, and I don't know if that's maybe me just being weird about it, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to blossom into something better either, so I'm not sure what to think with that situation. I wouldn't call it a love triangle, because when Moira has those feelings for Mather, she doesn't have them for Theron, and when she kind of starts having that spark with Theron, Mather's like totally out of the picture because of the whole she hates him for arranging this marriage thing and completely blames him, and I think at one point she wants to like throttle him. I'm not really sure, but she definitely is very angry with him and wants nothing to do with him. So I wouldn't call it a love triangle because it's never like she's picking between them, but I'm intrigued to see what happens with Moira's boyfriend situation. Even though now she's queen and there are definitely more pressing issues, like where is Angra? What's happening with Angra? That is obviously the most pressing issue. Are the Winterians safe? I don't know. I think it's amazing that they're rebuilding January. That I thought was brilliant as well, that the capital cities were named after like months that are in that season. Was it January? Pretty much it was January. Yeah, January. And then the capital of spring was not April, but Abril with a B rather than a P. That's great as well. I loved that thing. I think the capital of autumn was October. I thought that was funny. I liked that. But yeah, I think it's amazing that the Winterians are rebuilding January and kind of getting their lives back together, but no one's safe because they know that smashing Angra's stuff thing didn't kill him, or at least Moira knows it didn't kill him. Not sure what everyone else believes because no one seems to listen to Moira still, even though she's queen and like really powerful. What? Anyway, yeah, feels. I'm gonna stop there because otherwise I'll just keep going and keep going. I really, really did enjoy this book and I'm very excited to keep going with the trilogy. And if you haven't read it, even though if you haven't read it, you shouldn't be here at this point. If you haven't read it, go and read it. I really like it. There we go. Feels. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Chat to me down in the comments. Tell me your feelings on this book. And if you fancy subscribing, I'm always eternally grateful for that. And I will see you next time with maybe another book babble or whatever I finish next. Who knows? Bye!